I'm Jessica Vargas. I'm a graduate student in the Sustainability Management program at Columbia University, and today I'm pleased to be virtually joined by Norah Magero. Norah happens to be the co founder and chief executive officer of a non governmental organization based in Kenya called Drop Access, which, simply put, aims to provide rural and off grid communities with access to affordable and easy to use renewable energy technologies. And today I will be speaking with Norah about her career and some of her perceptions about consumerism and sustainability in the context of energy access for rural populations. That being said, Norah, I think it will be suitable to start with a little introduction regarding your background. Why did you decide to found Drop Access, your career, and then we will just take it from there. Does that sound good?
Yes, yes, that sounds great. Thank you so much, Jessica. This is such an honor to be interviewed. And yes, just as you mentioned, my name is Norah Magero. I am Kenyan. I am the founder and CEO of Drop Access, which is a youth-led and women-led organization, social enterprise that is providing energy solutions that are practical, that are affordable, and that also attainable and reachable to rural communities, with the target to impact the lives of women and also to also escalate the impact to children, communities like smallholder farmers and healthcare communities.
Wow. First thing first, I wanted to congratulate you for all the amazing things that you have achieved so far through Drop Access. The organization is amazing. I've been looking at in internet and I really like what Drop Access does. And regarding Drop Access, I wanted to ask you, during the consumerism course that I'm taking at Columbia University, some of the things that we have learned is that some of the barriers to the adoption of any product include, for example, lower convenience to obtain or to use the product or high prices. And I think that Box and Koyo are perfect examples to talk about this. For those that will be listening to this, Box and Koyo, well, Drop Access is the distributor of Box and Koyo, which are two award-winning solar refrigerators that are used to store farmers' produce and vaccines in rural communities. And I would like to know, like, what do you think are the barriers to the adoption of solar appliances like these solar refrigerators? And how is that you overcame these barriers in order to promote Box and Koyo? Could you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, 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 sure, sure. So yes, so just to give like an overview about Vaxibox and Koyo, these are portable solar refrigeration facilities to target the last mile and also really low income communities and rural communities within any African state or division or nation. And these innovations came about because we were trying to provide like affordable solar energy technologies like solar refrigeration to communities that are predominantly live in the rural and mostly to farmers like dairy farmers and the cash crop farmers, as well as to healthcare communities that needed to store vaccines and blood for transfusion and drugs such as insulin. But then we discovered that most of these people or rather users cannot afford what's available in the market. And what happens is uh, uh, technology companies normally import these already developed develop solutions like the fridges into the country, and they come in already standardized sizes, and also the cost of shipping them into the country makes them really really expensive to be affordable. So you find like a solution like a simple solar fridge will go for at least $2,000. Then also other things that are really hindering the adoption of these solutions other than the cost is the practicality of how they fit into the cold chain and end user. So you find for most farmers, they want just a reasonably sized fridge that is able to also maybe be transported to a shop or to a market, so that it acts as dual purpose. So it can be used both at home to store the evening milk once they milk. Then the next day they can also take it and mount it on their bicycle to take the milk to either the neighbors or to the nearing market. So they need a solution that fits both end and is able to fit their needs, but also something that is affordable and practical and works really well. So you find there are no such kind of solutions within the African space. And the people are not going into developing them, because also there's the issue of how affordable will they be for these communities that can't even afford the $2,000 to buy a solar refrigerator. Another challenge is that because these solutions are imported into the country, Kenya is a highly retail economy, and we're a consumer nation. We consume what's been produced outside the country. So there are many issues that occur when it comes to operation and maintenance of these technologies. You find a fridge that has been shipped into the country is under proprietary rights. You can't open it up to repair it. It's completely sealed. So when it breaks down, the technicians or the end users cannot repair the fridge. So what they do is that they put it on the side and wait for 6 months when maybe a repair technician is sent. At that 6 months, it means they lose business or they lose products and even medication, which is not really practical or makes sense when you talk of bridging the sustainability gaps in cold chain.
Yeah, of course.
So
Sorry, go ahead.
sorry, yes, yeah. So because of this, people end up discarding the refrigerators and get disillusioned, because they know I'll buy it, then it breaks down 1 year down the line, nobody will come to fix it. And nobody knows how to fix it. And when they attempt to fix it, they're probably going to spoil it. And that means I get to lose my money. This technology does not serve me to the expected time. So what we did was we took all these gaps and looked at them, and decided, like, we're going to come up with a solution that is locally made, so that we also provide like a really swift after sales support, and over the years to come, so that we increase the customer life years of use of these technologies, to just also improve sustainability of such technologies within the African space, and also to give the best value for the money. If these communities that are low income are going to pay for them, then they deserve to use them for the years to come, to also generate income or even to impact as many lives as possible. Also, we wanted a technology that is affordable, that is, since we know that so many in the market are quite costly, and also we wanted a solution that is built by the end user themselves, and that guided our development for the VaxiBox fridge and the Koyo fridge. The VaxiBox fridge is predominantly for healthcare use, like the name VaxiBox is for vaccines, and the blood for transfusion and insulin. Then the Koyo fridge is actually meant for farmers' use. And Koyo actually means cold in one of our native mother tongues here in Kenya. And this came about because so many farmers kept on asking us, like, how can we keep our items cold? How can we ensure that the evening milk remains cold? And also we also don't have electricity. So, like, give us a solution. So yeah.
Yeah, and when you tell a farmer about the option of owning a refrigerator, do you see that most of them already know about the benefits of owning this solution and money is simply what restricts them to buy it? Or, for example, once they buy it, do you have to provide training so that they can use the energy solution properly? I'm asking this because I would like to know your opinion on how important education is for the adoption of productive energy appliances. So, if you could talk a little bit about that, that would be great.
All right, right. So, another reason why technologies do fail and people shy away from adopting them or even opting for them is lack of awareness on the use, and also on a bit of just simple maintenance of the facility. So we found out that we can't just give the farmer the fridge. We have to teach them how to switch it on, how to wipe the solar panels, just simple basic maintenance to give them the best care ever. Then also, when we teach them about the solution that they're buying, they also tend to like it more and get to understand it, because they feel that part of ownership, having the knowledge on how to use the equipment. We try to make our equipment as plug and play as much as possible, so that also it's easier for the farmer to use it. and also it's easier for us when we're teaching them, because the more complex the solution is, the more people tend to shy away. But education is really, really important when delivering these technologies, no matter how plug and play they are, because then it means it will affect the life cycle of this technology. Because if they do simple maintenance, it will be able to move a bit longer. Then also we have to teach them on the safety, because these are the electrical equipment, what they need to do and what they can't really do, just to keep them safe and also to keep the environment safe and also protect the equipment. We also have to teach them on various uses on how they can maximize or rather optimize the use of these technologies. And in that way, we also get to work with them and try to find ways on how communities can adopt such kind of technologies further. And this awareness is really, really important, because it then increases the market share. It increases also the ownership for these technologies by these communities, and also just keeps them safe and gives them the value for their money. Once they understand how to use this fridge, then they will love it, they will own it, and they'll be open to tell you and give you feedback that, hey, there is a problem. I saw a spark somewhere, if there's a spark or it's not working, and you'd ask them for simple troubleshooting, like switch this off and switch this on. They need to be able to do that. Then also it gives them also joy when they learn, because they get to have new knowledge on what's out there and what's available. So education is part of the deal. Yes.
And are there like any specific tools or approaches for educating these communities? Do you normally try to talk about the financial part? Like, hey, if you buy this refrigerator, you can double your income, or do you focus more like on the technical aspects of the project? Like, what are some of the approaches you use in order to really engage these communities and make them invested in the project or in the technology?
Okay. So other than just the technical aspect of how this fridge works, we also give them the financial literacy uh, on on the importance of actually adopting this technology. And just like you mentioned, we actually do sit down with them and tell them, hey, this fridge costs what, $1,000. So we literally sit down with them and calculate with them what savings they're going to enjoy in the next 6 months or in the next 1 year, and what that means for them. And we educate them to open their eyes on why they should adopt the fridges. So like the farmers, the issue that was there is that so many farmers used to lose the evening milk because it's at night and nobody's coming to collect the milk. So they discard it, or they give it to the dogs, or they throw it away, or they turn it into something that is of less value, like sour milk and all that. So we educate them like, hey, by just buying this fridge to save the evening milk, you're going to recoup your money by this X number of months. Then after that is just enjoying pure profits. And that entices them to see the importance of adopting these technologies. And also we let them understand how they can they can actually change their lifestyle by using these technologies. If they're able to generate more income through household savings, then they're also able to afford better healthcare, better education. Like, we just open up their minds to understanding the various benefits that comes with adopting these technologies. And also, other than just promoting our technology, it's really, really, really our responsibilities as technology providers within the African space to bring these technologies to be aware, whether they're ours or they're for somebody else, because that is how fast we're going to ensure that many African communities actually do take up these technologies. So we also do teach the farmers on what's available in the market, the alternative that they can get in the market, because they necessarily will say, you know what, we don't want the size of a fridge, it's too small for us. Then tell them, hey, this is an alternative, and you can actually link you up to the technology provider or even to financing for this specific technology, because it is part of our responsibility if you're going to ensure there's 100% energy access within the African space.
And building on this topic about education and capacity building, I understand that in many rural areas in Africa, it's very common for women to not have access to financial power. So, for example, even if they wanted to buy a refrigerator, they would need first to consult it with someone else within their household. So, I would love to know about your perspective around equity and gender implications in the context of promoting these energy appliances. So, for instance, like how do you go about incorporating these kinds of considerations in your trainings or your capacity building approaches?
So if you look at like East Africa, where Kenya is as a country, obviously women access to these technologies is still lagging behind. And we do understand the gender power structures that still do exist, where the women in Kenyan community, the rural Kenyan communities, are not the custodians of the money. So when you ask them to buy these technologies, they're not going to tell you an outright yes. They have to go through various channels of convincing the husbands or the community leaders who are men to let them actually buy this technology. So whenever we actually do target women directly, but then we've come to understand that we've come to know and appreciate and understand that women are not the sole custodians of the money. So we try to educate the household and also mostly just rope in the husband to understand the reasons to why we want their wife, who is a dairy farmer, to invest in this kind of refrigerator. So we try to make it as open as possible. And also, I know in some cases, the man simply accurately says no because they didn't walk the journey with us and they don't believe also in the empowerment of the woman to access these technologies. And also women are not really allowed or given permission to own these technologies. So in this case, we try to look for organizations that fund women directly and to try cater for this where it fails, or even we now partner with organizations that actually do help to negotiate uh, to reduce these gender power structures that still do exist within the countries to just ensure that we break down the information and also enable understanding for the male gender and also for the women gender to know how to negotiate for these solutions for themselves.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, Nora, for those great answers. And finally, just to wrap up our conversation, do you have any advice for all the people that want to implement projects like related with energy appliances for rural populations, or that want to get into the international development sector? Based on your experience, which is huge and amazing, do you have any recommendations or any advice?
Yes, yes. So those who wants to start supplying equipment within the African continent and its countries, what I can tell them is just to really, really be aware that communities are different, and it's easier for these technologies to be adopted. And this is from past experience. It's easier for these technologies to be adopted if they build it with the communities themselves, because then they get to have ownership and they get to have understanding. So they should go out to those communities and interact with them and ask them to be part of the process. And in that way, they'll adopt these technologies, and then the amazing solution that will come out of these processes will actually last for decades to come. And we won't have these challenges of e-waste within the solar technology space, because this technology will be taken up and they'll be taken care of, and we'll also find innovative ways to ensure that there's operation and maintenance for them to last for the years to come. Then also they should be really, really aware that the African space is still highly underfunded because of the associated risks. So if they can try and partner with organizations that can still try to subsidize these technologies as much as possible, that would be great. I do understand the business perspective where getting to revenue is really, really important, but then also you can't really get to revenue if you can't even have the first customer, because the first customer can't even pay for it. So if they can find ways of trying to subsidize this cost as much as possible and work the business acumen around it, that would be also be great. And those who want to go into the international development, partnerships is still key. Partners with these communities to find strategies of how to reduce, how to promote energy access. Really just to visit the communities, know more about them, learn about their ways and collaborate with them, because the different ways that are still being done to fight climate change and also promote energy access. They might not be the best ways, but then I think the possible ways that can promote collaboration with those who want to go into the international development space for research, for development and the likes, just so that we are building as one world. Because having gotten a chance to travel to places like the US, I've realized that the technology there is much, much advanced. Obviously, probably where you are also is much, much, much advanced. But these are technologies that are equally practical anywhere in the world. And I feel like there's such a huge divide in adoption of these technologies that is also widening the poverty and the widening the economic gaps that exist within continents, and not just Africa alone, there's also Asia. So if we try to build these technologies to be compatible and adaptable everywhere in the world, then we'll ensure that we reduce these gaps as much as possible, and also be able to adopt technologies from far and wide that can be applicable at any place and can also be practical for any
Yeah,
use.
so
Yeah.
Nora, really thank you so much. It was really amazing speaking with you. Do you have any, do you want to share anything about the new projects that you're working on? I know that you said that you're working really hard on your chip and your accelerator. So anything you want to share regarding new projects, new things coming on?
Yeah. So while we're distributing this cold storage solution, we also learned that we have to ensure there is digital compatibility and also access for these technologies. So moving forward, our fridges are going to be fully IoT enabled, and we just want to ensure that we're able to do monitoring and even do local troubleshooting for these refrigerators, and also to increase the digital access for these communities. So the fridges do have an IoT component where they're able to measure temperature, location from any place on Earth, send information, and also be able to record data. And this information can be used for planning programs within remote communities, and also forecasting what solutions are best applicable. So this is something that we are really, really excited about, because then we didn't really expect that we'd be doing like a digital integration, but now it's happening and it's coming up really nice. And also we just see where the future holds for us here.
Wow. Congratulations,
Thank you.
and hope to see all of that like happening on the ground soon. And yeah,